What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Ho to Husband Podcast. I'm your host, Terry DeRon. We have had some technical difficulties. Get my man Jay on. We'll bring him on the second half of the show. But I also got my man SD in the building. What's good, bro?
Nothing, man. Excited to get on with this here episode, see what's happening. But first, I want to give a shout out to Brother Soul Productions for always keeping the background audio fresh. And I want to remind you all to donate to the Ho to Husband Podcast on Cash App and PayPal.
I want to remind everybody that you can catch us every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on thecore94.com. I'd also like to remind everybody that if you're not already following us on our social media, make sure you follow us. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at Ho to Husband Podcast. And if you're interested in advertising with us, just shoot us a DM or an email on one of our platforms. Tonight we have a real interesting title. Tonight's episode is titled "Communication is Key." And we're going to be discussing or addressing the different miscommunications that can take place during a relationship. But y'all know how we do around here, man. We like to start the podcast off by discussing stuff we've seen trending or on our timelines. And so we got a couple of interesting videos this week. This first video clip is a couple getting married in the middle of saying their vows when something obviously unexpected to the wife came up. Let's take a look.
In sickness, and in health, to love, cherish, and to obey.
We didn't talk about that one in counseling.
We did talk about that in counseling. Yes, we did. So you want me to repeat that again? You want to just keep going?
I think we can keep going.
All right.
Wow. I'd be embarrassed. I don't know how the guy felt, but to have your wedding go viral for something like that, to me, that's a major red flag. Now, I don't expect a woman to obey her husband as if he's just a dictator and he tells you what to do on a day-to-day basis. But I do think that a man should have the final say in major decisions and things of that nature when it comes to the household. What do you think?
I don't know if I would continue with the ceremony, to be honest. I don't know if I would continue with the ceremony, man, because to me, this is blatant disrespect for the vows and her husband in my book, because she don't like the word obey. So let me give y'all the definition. Obey, to follow the commands or guidance of, to conform or to comply with. For some reason, with a lot of these words, whether it's obey in this situation, whether it's need in another one, or whether it's submissive in another one, a lot of women always take it to the most negative part of what that word means and don't even care about the rest and have an issue with it. So to me, if she won't follow the guidance or conform or comply with her husband because she don't want to obey now, she don't even want to say it during her wedding vows, he is in for trouble. I don't give it 5 years, because you got a problem with words. I know you gonna have problems with the actions behind those words. And for that, being so defiant and combative and aggressive or masculine in that moment.
I mean, just look how
wedding
the
day
pastor had to come and we did talk about it.
We did talk about it. And she still, no, we could just move past that. Ain't no way. But I blame him. And this is why I blame him. Because if that's her attitude on her wedding day, you better believe that's her attitude on a regular day. During all this time y'all dated, you courted, that's her attitude. And he laughed, because he's soft like that. He don't want to upset her or whatever the case. Man, forget her. Excuse me, I know y'all came out here for a wedding, but we got some things we got to work out. That's the way I'm going to handle it. I'm not going to marry this woman here because she not even holding up to her marriage vows right now, and we ain't even married yet. How do I expect her to do that during the course of a marriage then? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, especially to interrupt the ceremony. I mean, we know most people don't we see that with the divorce rate that most people don't honor their vows till death do you part and all that. But to just interrupt the ceremony and make it a thing like that, it was embarrassing to watch, you know what I'm saying, for the dude. But like you said, it's his fault because he enabled this type of behavior. And ultimately, he's choosing to marry this woman. You know, there are plenty of guys that make bad decisions when it comes to who they give their last name to. So,
but you know what's crazy? They'll go to work and they boss say, "Hey, that skirt is a little too high. You got to bring that down below your knees." Yes, sir. Hey, you can't wear that nail polish right there. Oh, yes, sir. I will not wear it again. Just fine obeying a boss. But when it comes to your man that say, "Hey, I'll lay down my life for you if I need to." Oh, now it's a problem. Hey, I'm independent. Hey, I can do what I want. You don't own me. You don't this. You don't that.
So to why would a guy even sign up?
Exactly. Yeah. That is crazy to me. No way I'm going, and we're not talking about nothing crazy. Let's put that out there. We're not talking about nothing controlling that's all out in left field. That's not what we talking about, right? We talking about reasonable requests or certain things from your husband within a relationship, right? If you can't even say the word during your wedding vows, you ain't gonna do none of that. If you don't feel like it. I know you got a problem with submissive, because this here is kind of part all in one. Comply with. That's still along the same lines of being submissive to your man.
And allowing him to lead. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if this is a situation where she makes more than him or something like that, because she clearly don't have no intention of him leading the marriage. You know what I mean? Like,
bruh, Terry, the pastor can't even lead the wedding. The pastor can't even lead the wedding. She like, "Hey, obey, whoa, slow down, pastor, my boy, slow down. No, we gonna skip that." She want to lead the wedding over the pastor. She said, "No, let's just skip that." And the pastor say, "All right." The pastor should be like, "No, come on. These are the wedding vows by the church in the Bible that you are going with. This is what you saying you're gonna live by." But see, the thing I like about it though, at least she's honest. At least she honest and let him know, "Hey, no, I ain't with this." So if he continue on with it, it is 100% his fault what goes on behind it. When he come back 5 years later to say, "Man, she would, I couldn't leave my own house. She wanted to run things and do this." Hey, bro, you knew what it was before you got there. That's your fault. It ain't hers. She was who she was when she got there. The same thing I tell these women is the same thing I tell the men. And this here particular situation, that's 100% his fault if he go through with that wedding. Forget that wedding and forget her too.
All right, man, let's keep things rolling. Now, this next video, I'm not sure who this lady is, but I saw a video on my timeline of a video of a lady explaining a woman's role in a man's life. Let's take a listen.
He did not call the man in your life so you can be his mama. He has one mother. He does not need you telling him, "Oh, turn left here, park here, turn right. Why you ain't do what I said? Here, do this, do that." He does not need a nag. He needs a helper. He needs someone that's called alongside him to help him in this life, not someone to nag him to death. So these are questions you must ask yourself. Could this be the reason? Is there something in this area that I need to work on? Do I have just too much mouth, too much sass, too much sarcasm? Could that be the reason? In my heart, do I respect him? Or on the outside, I pretend like I respect him, but in my heart, I have no respect for him. And that's why I talk to him the way that I do. I have no respect for him.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of just piggybacks on what we were just talking about. A woman that actually has genuine respect for a man, she respects your character, who you are as a person, that she's going to treat you a certain way. The same way a man that respects a woman is, and a lot of times, especially when we see, we talking about modern women, a lot of the things that they say and do that make them unpleasant to date or unpleasant to even consider for a serious relationship has to do with their mouth, and their desire to to get the last word, to you know what I'm saying, like to try to paint the man in a negative light, all those type of things. Those are the type of things that get women cut off every day.
Absolutely, man. And smart men pay it attention, man. Like, I mean, we see it, like you said, every day. I don't need you. I got my own this. I got my own that. Why would a dude marry a woman like that? If you can't control, if you don't respect men in general, because if you respected men in general and saw the value in what they bring into a relationship, then you gonna know that as a woman you need a man out here. It's just that simple, right?
But a lot of them
But if
just see the dollar signs or what
I
a
know.
man can provide for them financially.
Right. And if they got the dollar, then they feel like they don't need him, right? That lets you know that she won't respect you in the home. And thus that the mouth is gonna come behind that. The mouth where she feel like she can talk to you however she wants. She feel like she can do whatever she wants because she don't respect your pockets because she got her own pockets. That's why women who out earn their men, it's a 50% increase in them divorcing the man. If they get a raise and start making more than they man, it's a 30% increase or something like that. And they have the highest rate of divorce, the college educated women that make good money. The highest rate. A lot of them just don't respect a man.
And even in the situations like where a woman is making good money, but she lucks up. She's one of those 1%ers that gets a man making more than her. She gets a baller dude that's a millionaire. A lot of them are incentivized to even not respect that situation because they know if they leave, they get in the child support, the alimony. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of women's wealth is gathered through divorce. So it's in a guy's best interest to figure this out in the dating phase, what type of attitude a woman has and what perspective she has on these type of issues.
Right. And you can figure this out a lot of times, especially nowadays with everybody having social media, you can find this out through social media. Because they tell everything. Like they attitude is on display. Just go to Justin LeBoy page. That'll tell you. Go to Spiritual Word page. That'll tell you because they're going to put out there how they feel. Whether it's Keke Palmer. Hey, she can wear what she wants. She ain't married to him yet. Bang, right there. You know what she think like. She can do whatever she wants if you ain't married to her yet. Is that a woman you want to take serious? Absolutely not. That's why social media is so important. People don't think it is. It is a gateway into how you think. Do she dress however, like a hoe out here?
How she present herself.
And not just the women. Not just the men. The women should be doing the same thing. Do this dude talk like he reckless out here and living the whole life, but you want to get married? You shouldn't be bothered with a dude like that. So to this woman's point, how you carry yourself, how you talk to a man, how you treat that man is key to having a healthy relationship and ultimately him wanting to marry you. Does he want another mother? Not quite like his mom, but some things, of course, to take care of the home and be a homemaker. Just like
show the qualities of a mother,
of a mom, right? And just like she want the qualities of a what? A dad, a provider, a protector, and a leader. That's what they want. But you can't have problems with you want somebody like your dad, and then a man wanting a woman that do things like his mom. So everybody really needs to just humble themselves in the process of relationships and get out of their ego with a lot of this stuff, man, and correct their attitudes, men and women. So
facts.
That's what I got to say about.
All right, man. It looks like we are up against the clock. We're about to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be bringing on our guest for the night, and we'll be getting into tonight's conversation. Communication is key. You guys are tuning into the Ho to Husband podcast. We'll be back in a moment. Hi, I'm relationship coach and author Terry Duran, and I am pleased to announce that my book, It's Not That Complicated, is finally available as an audiobook. So if you don't like to read or you just don't have time to read a paperback book, this audiobook is perfect for you. You can listen to it while you're in your car, while you're at work, etc. In the book, I break down how husband material men think and operate in regards to sex, love, and relationships, and I provide real quality insight on how husband material men approach dating. The audiobook is available on audible.com and on iTunes. All you have to do is go to one of the websites and search for my name, Terry Duran. Go download your copy today. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Ho to Husband podcast. We have our special guest on for tonight. We have Miss Kittie Rose in the building. How you doing, Kittie?
I'm doing good. How y'all doing?
We're doing all right. We appreciate you taking the time to come chop it up with us. We see you all over the net dropping gems. So we wanted to actually bring you on to have an in-depth conversation with you. But before we get into the conversation, can you let our viewers know a little bit about you, your background, your relationship status, etc., so they can see where you're coming from?
Yeah, I'm Kittie Rose, also known as Kittie the Conversationalist. I specialize in couples and relationships. I specialize in infidelity recovery, in divorce, breakup, and communication. I am from Texas. I am from Dallas, Texas, and I am happily married.
That's what's up, man. It's not too many actually of people that are married in the relationship space, given perspectives.
Especially talking about infidelity recovery. I never heard that before. I got recovery for her. All right. She can get away from me. That's how I'm recovered. But go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't jump in there, but I never heard that one before.
It's a tough.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a tough situation, but a lot of people. Well, actually, it's not actually the infidelity that people can't get over. It's usually the deceit, the lies, the trust. That's usually the what ends up crumbling the relationship. But Kittie,
so Kittie, real quick, since we hit that point, let me ask you something. In your counseling and different things with this infidelity, what is one of the main things that you see is the reason behind the infidelity? The main reason.
Supplementing a lack of met needs. There's usually I don't want to say that it's always a lack, but that's the most common one. There's usually someone who wasn't able to actually speak up on what it is that their needs. Sometimes you'll see passive people who feel as though their needs don't matter, so they don't voice their needs. And then sometimes people they just don't actually pay attention to their partner. Like they just expect certain things. Expectations always kill relationships. Let me just go ahead and say that. But sometimes they expect their partner to meet their needs and they just completely avoid meeting the other person's needs. And that's what becomes a problem. So usually if it's like they need respect, appreciation, acknowledgement, clarity, things like that, usually when they can't get it, they step out to receive it.
Get it from somebody else.
They just step out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and when I remember when me and my wife were in marriage counseling, and the pastor was talking about how you can become vulnerable by what you just explained, by not having your needs met, and then he went through listing what the main needs a man have and the main needs that a woman have, because they're different. It's not like this mirror list where you want the exact same thing from your spouse. But Kittie, I wanted to ask you. From a communication standpoint, I know on social media there's this gender war type vibe that goes on whenever we try to have these discussions. But I wanted to, from your perspective, what would you say is the biggest obstacle to men and women being able to have effective communication in a romantic or a dating sense?
I think the difference is men are more direct and women are more indirect. And so men are able to speak about what they need coming from a logical standpoint. They can actually say it. It's clear. There's no guessing to it. And then women are more passive aggressive than men typically are. So they say things indirectly and they expect men to guess. Also, I think another thing is the body language in itself. Sometimes when women are speaking about things, they're thinking that what they're saying or how they're in the conversation, their engagement to the conversation is not being reciprocated. When the truth is, like, a woman can actually, nod, I completely understand you. And if a man doesn't give that same thing, she thinks that he's not attentive or not listening or that she's not important. But some men just simply don't do that. And I see that a lot, especially with the couples that I work with. That's always one thing. It's the body language. And women read way too much into it. And I also think that women are usually a lot more emotionally fueled when it comes to communication as well. Their emotions lead a lot of the conversations. I also think that women over men typically are a lot more judgmental, so they don't actually allow the safety for men to express themselves as much as men allow it. And I know some women may disagree with that, but I can see that across the board, because most women would say, well, why would you do that? In their mind, this is what they're saying when they're listening. Why would you do that? Or they're looking for inaccuracies or things, a different point of view from what it is that you're saying. And men don't typically do that as often. Even when you see men communicating with their homeboys and stuff, or outside the relationship, they communicate completely different when it comes to it. I think women and overthinking to it. Their anxiety is really present a lot in conversations.
Yeah, and from a male perspective, when you have a conflict or you're in the middle of an argument, one thing that kind of made me stand out or allowed me to grow a following is I'm able to break down complex topics in a way that most guys can resonate with. And most guys can't do that in real time. Because what's happening in the middle of an argument, she twisted something that you said. She used some kind of exaggeration or extreme example to try to paint him in a negative light. And so when guys finally do get a chance to talk in a conversation, you usually got to go correct a lot of inaccuracies and stuff that she said about you, instead of actually discussing the current issue at hand. And most guys, after a while, they just stop trying. And that's usually very detrimental to the relationship overall.
Yeah, you see that women, and I know that it's a distortion, but women use this distortion more than anything. They use a lot more emotional reasoning. So whatever they feel is true. That's it. And men are more logical and spatial when it comes to their reasoning. So it's not about what it is that they feel that's true. It's about what's the facts, what's right here in front. Let's not leave any room for speculation and assumption. But women typically tend to do that.
Yeah, every man has really dealt with it, right? Where you talking to a woman and her feelings outweigh the actual facts.
Yep.
And you know this because when you get into that conversation and she get into them emotions, every woman pretty much say this when they get into a conversation. They say, so basically, and they turn everything else around and you be like, so basically, you said I'm fat. I didn't say you was fat, baby. I said that that I like the other dress better. That's exactly what I said. Yeah, but that means that you think that I'm fat in this. I didn't say that, and it becomes so frustrating, like Terry said, because even though that's not what you said, she's going to be mad at you.
She gonna treat you like you did.
But and she gonna be pissed off. Now you can't get no loving.
Yeah,
she gonna be acting funny. And then so men a lot of times just lie to the women. That's where a lot of the lying comes from.
But check this out. That's the reason why I feel like it's very important and I will say this, for men to truly understand the woman, whoever that woman is in their space, they understand their sensitivities and their vulnerabilities. What are they bothered by? Because of social influence, women more than men are really bothered by criticism. They take it personally. It can be something that you're saying. It can be something that you're saying that's a good thing. You may just say, hey, I don't like you put too much salt in the meal. And then what you just said was completely...
You don't like their food.
Exactly. It was said, they heard something completely different. Their interpretation was completely flawed. So for women, like if men hear that, they know how to push things off. Okay, it doesn't mean that I'm not worth it. It just means that I put too much salt. But a woman, I'm not good enough. You saying I can't cook. Somebody else cooks better than me. I don't cook like your mama. Like that's everything that they take in because of what they're sensitive to. But like I said, social influence. There's a lot of criticism amongst women in the social setting. Yeah. There is a lot. They're always competing and comparing. That's all that it pushes. You have to look this way. You have to cook this way. You have to do that. So when they hear certain things like that, they're bothered and they take it to the extreme.
So Kittie, in the world of pandering that we live in, how with women getting praised and negative behaviors being treated like they're positive, etc., all this kind of misinformation being put out to women, how are men supposed to be able to actually address issues in a way that doesn't allow women to either play the victim or attack his tone or word choice?
I'm gonna be honest with you, because since we're talking about pandering, and I'm gonna put this all together. Okay, pandering is a way to enable a person's behavior. And most times they don't know exactly what it is that they're doing. But also when it comes to somebody who's in a victim mindset, it does not matter what you say to them, because they are on the standpoint to where they feel like their suffering, their pain, their hurt is more important than yours, because they are looking for recognition for what it is that they have experienced. No matter what you say, if you put a bow on top of it, if you make it pretty, they're still going to be unreceptive. They're not going to receive it. Somebody who has a victim mindset has to free themselves from that victim mindset. And truth be told, most times that takes professional help for someone to do that, because most people live in a victim mindset for a long time. You can be victimized. It doesn't mean that you have to hold on to that mindset. When you hold on to that mindset, whenever you listen to these pandering podcasts and these people that tell you it's his fault, that enables the behaviors that you have. So you're never going to take accountability for that until you are ready to be called out, until you actually have failed relationship, failed dating experience after failed dating experience, until you have people who continue to leave you, to where you finally have that wake-up call. It doesn't matter until you have that wake-up call.
Yeah, a lot of them, it just bothers me, a lot of the pandering content.
Yeah.
It really does, because, when you actually think about it, it hurts them so much.
Oh, yeah.
It hurts them so much. But they think that they are helping by telling them something they already believe in anyway.
Yeah.
They're not telling them, hey, you rushed into this.
Yeah.
This was your fault. You knew this. You knew that. They ain't telling them that. They say, hey, this dude here was like that. You should. This guy was like that, and put everything on the man. And so it's impossible for them to make changes to themselves that they need, because they are being fed on a daily basis that they are not the problem, and they make them they make them rich behind it, telling them what they want to hear.
You know what? They're feeding into that delusion, and it makes it lack accountability. I remember it was a video I put out probably a year ago where I actually talked about what women do and how they're probably not the best part and they think they are. Oh my God. The amount of women who were like, pick me this. You don't know what you're talking about. And it was like, no, you need to be called out. I would have never changed if my mentor, who was an amazing psychologist, would have never called me out. And he asked me, he was like, how do you expect to actually help people if you have not helped yourself? Here I am thinking I'm perfect. I'm like, first of all, I'm great.
Yeah.
But then I learned I'm not. I was controlling. I was a perfectionist. My anxiety was out of this world, and I had a victim mindset. I was a problem in itself, and I thought I was perfect, because a lot of the behaviors that I used were me to compensate for certain things, but they were still problematic. I had to sit down and face myself and allow this man to call me out. And when he did, I was able to see how problematic it was in society, how problematic as women we actually have become. And this whole pandering movement has been going on for years. And sometimes when I'm listening, I'm like, wait a minute, that is not how that's going. Sometimes I hear it and I'm like, are you really patting her on the back for that poor behavior? No, we don't even do that with kids. So why are we enabling in this behavior, saying that this is okay for you to act this way? This is a reason why there's a lack, especially when you see relationships and marriages. You will think, because most people say it's the man's fault when things fail, but it's so many times I see where it's a woman that's causing the failure. It's so often that I see that.
But we never got to see that though. Like before social media, I'm not even gonna lie to you, Kittie. A lot of men, I didn't really even know that women cheated like they do.
Yeah.
Before social media, because
unless you've been a side dude but
it's that's such a small perspective. You know what I'm saying? If I smash 4 or 5 chicks with a man or a husband back in the day, that's small compared to the whole. So, but you had Oprah, you had Ricky Lake, you had Donahue, you had all these different things telling us how much men cheat. So we always thought it was a man thing. And so now, even today, when the conversation comes up about divorce, the first thing pretty much every woman go to is, these dudes out here cheating. Yeah, and it's the man's fault. But then when you actually look at the numbers of this, the women cheat just as much, and if not more today. Yeah, but they don't want to take that part of it. So social media has turned around a lot of things with men being able to have a voice in the different things that go on, and also the women bragging about doing these things. So now the men are taking a step back and saying, wait a minute now. Why would I put my livelihood on the line when these here women are behaving like this, that, and that, and this here? So I think social media is a good thing.
Do y'all remember the beginning of the City Girl movement? Do y'all remember the whole beginning of that? How crazy that was at the beginning? Like,
Pretty
get
much.
over on whatever you know what you can get over on.
Get the money, yeah.
Money, sis.
Yeah.
It's all about the money. It's all about your image. Don't care about his feelings. We don't care about that. Like, that wasn't the only thing that affected the health of our relationship and our community. It was so much more, but that was so bad for women because the hurt women were going for that city girl mindset. That was a way for them to actually escape the hurt that they had. Let me just get up on the next person. And it is a lot of cheating. I'll say that amongst women, they're just good at hiding it. They're really good.
And side dudes don't do this stuff.
Don't care.
Side chicks do.
Yeah.
Like they're not doing the stuff they not posting the hints on social media and doing all this stuff to get you caught up the way that women are. So, but when women don't really want to have that conversation. They like to take credit for being better cheaters
being
than
slick.
It's like, you're right. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, that ain't really the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
And don't get me wrong, I love my women, but I always have to tell them when they are messing up. Okay, so just to be honest with y'all, I run a lot of classes. Like every week I'm running about 3-4 classes. The majority of my classes are women. The majority of them. I probably have maybe 5 or 6 men that probably be in my classes, but it's mostly women. I have run my self-sabotaging class a number of times. If I can tell you how many women have admitted after they saw all of the characteristics of sabotage, where it comes from, they admitted that they probably had more than 10 characteristics. I can say that confidently of how much they actually sabotage relationships. It is something that happens. They just won't openly say it.
They don't realize it till it's too late a lot of times. Because I think that's the biggest problem women have. Like they do things that decrease their chances of actually getting with the men that they want. I always call it, counterproductive behavior. But they don't really want to hear it when you're explaining to them why men that got their lives together and are actually husband material don't choose certain types of women. But sounds like you hating when you talk about rejecting specific women or certain characteristics in women.
But you know what? They have no problem talking about why they reject men.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. They will talk about, he don't make enough. Yeah. He too short. But when you say, baby, you a 4, or you know what? Most men that you want that's in the upper earning brackets don't want an obese woman. Now you don't. Is your mama obese? Yeah. Well, what you talking about then? What about your mama or your auntie? Or you hate women? You gay? I can't tell you how many times I've been called gay just for saying what the men actually want that you are going for. So what the part that I don't get is like, why do you actually think that the majority of women actually care about how men feel or about what men want out of them, the single women and single men? Do you actually think the majority of them care about that?
I don't. I don't. I've seen a lot of women try to maintain their positions when men are speaking about what it is that they possibly don't like. And my thing is, if you listen to men, you'll know exactly what it is that they don't like. We still have to understand the psychology and biology of men. We have to understand all of that. And I don't think women take that into account. They're going to see things differently from you. They see it from a completely different lens. They're going to feel things differently. They're going to want certain things that are different. And that's absolutely okay. But if you voice it for man,
but that's not how they treat it. They treat it like it's wrong. Like he's wrong until proven innocent or something. And like, damn.
Why those relationships don't work, because they feel like men have too many faults, especially if they already have this bad idea of what men actually are, a bad view on men. They feel like men are at fault regardless. So men don't have a voice. That's the way they enter every conversation. There's some women you simply cannot hold a conversation with. It's no getting to them. Like I said, until they get left by that one man they actually wanted, until he actually leaves. It's so many times that you'll hear behind the screens about the women who said, I lost a good man. Because of what? Because of what you did, because of women really enter relationships with this attitude of rejection. I speak about that all the time. They enter it with an attitude of rejection. I don't care about how you feel. I don't care about your opinions. I don't care about your thoughts. It's my way or the highway. A lot of women enter it in that space. So when men try to speak up, they don't get the chance to, because it's all about that woman's position.
But that's crazy to me, because men choose wives and girlfriends.
Yeah.
You can't make a man take what you have. You can't make us want what you want us to want from you.
Yeah.
Men are gonna say, most men, but guess what we will do? We'll feed you to the mattress real quick.
Yeah.
And we'll leave you alone, because most of these women out here don't have a single problem getting dick. None. because we willingly pass that out to you. You ain't gotta have nothing. You ain't gotta have no good attitude. You ain't gotta be in shape. You ain't gotta be submissive. You ain't gotta be pleasant. All you need is titties and a vaginal canal, and we'll feed you to the mattress. Like, it is what it is. But when you talk about giving your last name to somebody, that's when the substance comes into play. Because especially the more money he makes, because he's got more to lose. So now he's going to be even more.
And more options, though.
Exactly, but he's going to be even more strict on the things that he wants from a woman, because he got more to lose. And they just don't want to hear that. Okay, cool. Stay where you at. Keep getting fed to the mattress by multiple men that you keep running into, and don't complain about the consequences that you get because of your actions.
And you know what's crazy? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Well, I was just gonna say, I always found it interesting. Like, ever since I've been on social media, I only speak for men that have had success with women, and that are generally viewed as husband material by the people that know them. So I don't talk about gangsters. I don't talk about, I'm just talking about guys got a career, got family oriented, etc. And all of the men that I know that fit my category are with attractive women, driving nice cars, etc. And women will literally act like I don't have a clue about what I'm talking about dating from the male perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, damn, you would think that the wisdom that women would get from a man that's actually married, that's actually giving them free game. But for some, it is the difference maker where they actually get it and they actually make change. But for most of them, they block you, they unfollow you, or it goes in one ear out the other.
You know what's crazy? There was a post some months ago. It was talking about it was a man who was saying that he basically would not date a woman who had children. He didn't have children. There's a lot of women who were upset about that. My point when it comes to stuff like that is that because I was in the comments on that particular video, and I said, well, I was a woman who entered a relationship with multiple kids, but if I were a man in that stance, I would not have been with me. There's too much that comes with that. There's a lot that you have to consider when it comes to a woman who has children and stuff like that. I got ate up with that comment that I made. But that's true. Because I also said if I was a single woman and I was dating a man who had a child, I probably wouldn't take that serious because I don't have that. That means I don't have the same responsibility, same obligations, and I don't want to sign up for that. But I'm going to make this point because I know whenever we start talking about weight and stuff and all that, women get upset. My grandfather taught me a long time ago that the man is always going to pay attention to how you look. Don't ever let anyone play you like he isn't. I watched my grandmother keep herself up across the board. He invested money into her. She can go get whatever bundle she needed down her back, and it was way back then. And she kept herself up. So she's big on us as well. So even with me, because I just had a baby, so my body's not like I need it to be. I started training this week. I did that not just for myself, because my husband, although I know he may still be attracted to me, when he got with me, I was a certain size. He's known me my whole life as a certain size. I want to keep his visual appetite maintained. I do. And It's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's the reason why he's happy. That's the reason why I get the things that I get. I'm spoiled, riding. Because I make sure that every appetite this man has is fed. I don't fight him on that. If he has any concerns, if he voices any concerns, I don't fight him on that.
I seen a podcast or somebody on social media telling women, hey, don't get yourself in shape for no man. Don't do that. Forget these and still get cheated on anyway. And a million comments. Yes, King, talk to him anyway. Eat them cupcakes. Do whatever you want to do. And it's like, man, like, what is going on here? Smart men get their lives together, yes, for themselves, but also because they want a certain type of woman. Yeah. We do things as men. We do things as men to get the type of woman that we want. But for some reason,
we don't have a choice, though.
Exactly. But I'm saying, for this reason here, women follow these panders telling them don't do nothing for a man because they can still get dick regardless of what they do. And it messes up their mind because in their mind, they saying, I can still get men. Yeah, you just get taken to Pound Town. You ain't getting nothing of substance that you really want. You aren't getting a ring. You aren't getting a regular relationship, and you aren't getting that connection with a man. You just going from man to man that's trying to sleep with you. But they don't get it. It's not computing until they get a little older. That's when you get the Brittany Renners and the Alexa Skies and the Black China's trying to change. You know what? I'm reading the Bible now. I'm reading the Bible. God has told me to do this and that, trying to reform themselves. But a lot of times it'd be too late because you done already got a reputation out here. And the men be staying away from you. So they really hurting themselves a lot. And these panderers are helping it.
Oh, I can't stand the pandering. It works. It just makes me go insane. And you're right. It's just validating the delusion. That's all that it is. And
it's a scam.
Yeah, that's what, because if you look at panderers, if you look at the likes that they have, we're talking about millions of likes and shares and things like that. If you look at the ones who, I'm not gonna say no names.
Yeah.
But if you look at the ones who have made millions off of the pain and the delusion of women, it's sickening. It's like, let's be real, tell them the truth. Like, tell them the truth about themselves. I don't mind being counseled. I've been counseled before, and I'm fine with that. Tell them the truth. Because one day when they see it, they're going to come back and be like, you know what, you were right. It's okay. You hear it now. So what are you going to do now?
Kittie, I got one more question for you. Okay. On your platform, how do you word it or explain to women the importance of having realistic expectations of men, dating, finances, etc.?
Okay. The first thing is not to make sure that you're not adopting anybody else's expectations. First thing, you have to be real with the situation that you are in. Okay, let's be real about the demands that you have, the demands that he has, and the demands that the relationship actually have. If you are looking at finances and stuff like that, and these people are telling you, oh, he should pay for all of the bills and things like that. Okay, if you are wanting that expectation, if you want him to meet that expectation, where can you meet him when it comes to that? You want him to take care of the finances. That means he's not going to be in the home as often as you want him to be. That means that mentally and emotionally, he may be zapped out. So what are you going to do to add value to his life? I'm not talking about just cooking an actual meal. I mean, exactly when he's having those stressful days. Mentally, what are you going to actually do to add to him? If you have an expectation, you have to be able to make sure that you can actually meet that same expectation. If I'm asking for finances, I need to be in the standpoint to where I can take care of finances if things get sour. If I'm asking for something to be done in the house, I need to at least be sure that I can do something at least that's equivalent to the value of what it is that he's doing. If you can't meet in the middle, we don't need to talk about expectations. I hate the term expectations. I really hate that because I've seen the detriment and the toxicity of expectations. Most times those expectations don't even meet people's standards and their principles and their values. And most times we're just adopting the things that we feel like we expect because other people expect it. There's so many times you see women are adopting certain things from other relationships. That's simply not working for them. So whenever I do have that conversation, I don't use the term expectation. I don't like that term. Now you can hope that something is done a certain type of way, but you have to make sure that there is not a dissonance between your behaviors and the expectations that you create. So if you are doing something and you expect something from this person, you better make sure that you can do the same thing. You better make sure it doesn't look too much differently. If it does, it causes a problem. But I will say that's not the easiest conversation to have because it's just not an easy conversation to talk about finances and stuff because people are pouring in. I also think that it comes from this. The relationships that people idolize are just picture perfect online. That's not what really goes on behind closed doors. It's not. You're talking about people there and say, well, he has to pay 100% of the bills. So what exactly happens when things fall short? Do you leave or do you stay? Like what's
majority
really
of them dip.
Most of them leaving.
Yeah, they don't show that side though. They don't show none of that. And I also think another thing just to add, I think that when women enter marriages and relationships, they have an idea of what it's supposed to be based off of what it is that they've seen. But there's so much, like there's more to just the word nurturing in itself. There's a lot more. What are you doing to bring positivity and peace into the household? What are you doing whenever this person may disappoint you? What are you doing to resolve that? Like how are you actually navigating conflict and things like that? And I don't think many women understand that it's not just about you gaining a ring. There's a lot of compromise that comes to relationships and marriages, and you will have to compromise. There's going to be some spaces that you may feel uncomfortable, and that is absolutely okay. But men really don't ask for much. I've seen that a number of times. They really don't. I think women just make too much of a problem with stuff.
Yeah. All right, man. Look, we definitely got to bring you back on. We got a lot to talk about. Before we get up out of here, can you let our audience know where they can find your content, how they can sign up for your classes, etc.?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram or TikTok at Kittie J Rose, KITTIE Rose, or you can find me on my website, www.kittierose.com. Sign up for classes, courses, sessions. All right.
All right. Before we get up out of here, man, I want to give another shout out to my man, Brother Soul Productions, for keeping us laced with our background audio. Kittie, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to come chop it up with us. We always enjoy our conversation with you. SD, man, I know we had some technical issues with Jay, but I'm glad we was able to work through it and get the episode knocked out. This has been another episode of the Ho to Husband podcast. Y'all, thanks for tuning in. Peace.